What is your name, please?
My name is Evelyn Currie.
What is your name, please?
My name is Evelyn Currie.
What is your name, please?
My name is Evelyn Currie.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real Evelyn Currie and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Brought to you this week by Arid Cream Deodorant, America's largest selling deodorant. Don't be half safe, be completely safe. Use Arid Cream Deodorant to be sure. Now may I introduce our panel. First, a welcome back to Miss Polly Bergen, then Mr. Don Ameche, next Miss Kitty Carlisle, and finally Mr. Tom Poston. Now, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this first affidavit as I read it? I, Evelyn Currie, am a lion tamer. I work in a cage with 9 lions and tigers and 3 tiglons. 10 days ago, while I was unloading my act in Wichita, Kansas, a tiglon broke loose and threatened the crowd. I jumped on the animal's back, wrestled him to the ground, and held him until the attendants got a halter on him. Signed, Evelyn Currie. Three ladies to start things off, panel, each claiming to be Evelyn Currie, lion tamer extraordinary. Let's start this first round of questioning with Tom Poston. Tom?
Oh, thank you, Bud. Miss Currie, number 2, what is a tiglon?
A tiglon is a hybrid type of lion, and its tiger is the male, and the lion is the female.
Oh, you mean the offspring of the...
Yes, it's a freak birth.
Oh, I see. Number 1, please. Weren't you a little worried? Was the tiglon mad at you?
No, it was for pictures, and he escaped through his feed trap door.
And wasn't he a little upset when you wrestled with him?
No, I was more worried about him than the people. I didn't want him to get shot.
Oh, oh, I see. You weren't saving the people. You were saving the
Saving
tiglon.
him, yes.
How old was he, number 1, please?
A year and a half.
A year and a half old. Well, is he full grown at that age?
No, sir, he won't be full grown till he's 7 years old.
Polly?
7 years old, they get full grown. Gee, that's amazing. Number 2, what is the, about how big does an ocelot get? Do you know?
An ocelot? No, I don't know.
Number 1, do you know?
No, I don't.
Number 3?
I'll say about 400 pounds.
Number 1, can a tiger be completely domesticated?
Never tame completely.
Number 2, in the cage with the tigers and lions, do you work with chairs or any of those things, or do you work with just a whip or a gun?
No, I have no props whatsoever. The only thing I use is a short rope to flick them into their positions once
I
they're in
see.
the cage.
Number 3, this lion act that you have, with whom do you use this act? I mean, what group do you work with?
Oh, the Hammond Circus, the Shrine Circus.
I see.
Don Ameche.
Number 1, what is the better way of training a lion? Through love of the lion or through making him afraid of you?
Through love and kindness.
Number 2?
Through love and kindness. That's the way I train my animals.
Number 3?
I treat them just like I would a pet dog. A lot of love.
Number 1, how long does it take to really train a lion?
3 years.
Number 2?
3, maybe 4 years.
Number 3?
It'll take a good 3 years to train them to do all the tricks.
Number 2, what do you feed a lion?
Daily I feed him 15 pounds of beef.
Number 3, and
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 3, you say that, number 2 said that this is a tiglon, is a tiger and a lion.
Mm-hmm.
Will this mating occur in captivity?
Yes.
They will mate in captivity as well.
Very seldom do they mate, though. That's quite a rarity.
It's an accident?
No.
Not exactly, Kitty, no.
No, they just liked each other, this tiger and the lion.
Did you know these two?
Sure I did.
Oh, you did?
They were mine.
Oh! Number one, how do you get to be a lion tamer? How do you learn to be a lion tamer?
You just must dedicate your life to it.
There's no school that you go
There's
to.
no school or college.
That's it. Panel, it's time to vote on this first round, and without consultation, as usual, will you kindly mark your ballots and select thereby number 1, number 2, or number 3. The team of challengers, of course, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Okay, has everybody voted? All marked? Everybody set? Is everybody set?
Yep.
Okay. Tom, you all marked and everything?
Yes.
All right. Polly, for whom did you vote this time?
I voted for number 1. I disqualified number 3 because she said an ocelot would go 400 pounds. They generally only get a little bigger than a tomcat, a large tomcat, an ocelot. Number 2 looks familiar. I don't know her, but she doesn't look like anybody I've ever seen in a lion's cage. So I voted for number 1.
Lions I have known. Don, which one do you think is the real one?
Well, I voted for number 3 because I thought that what she said about the ocelot was correct weight.
He was only off about 250 pounds.
You travel with some big cats, that's all I gotta say.
No, truthfully, when she said, of course I know them, they were mine, I thought if they're not hers, she can really read lines effectively.
And what about your selection, Kitty?
I voted for number 2. I disqualified number 3 because of the ocelot's weight. And number 2 corrected number 1 when she said that it took 3 years to train a lion. She said maybe 3 or 4, and I thought if number 1 were the correct one, number 2 would not have changed what she said. She would have agreed with her. So I voted for number 2.
Okay. And Tom?
Well, I didn't put down my vote, Bud. I thought it was number 1, but I'm going to ask to disqualify myself.
Oh, you know number 2.
No, number 3 is a very famous and beautiful dancer, and I've known her for a while, and I must disqualify myself.
Okay, that's one disqualified, counting, of course, then as an incorrect vote.
Under these conditions, could I vote again?
Well, let's find out how well we did now. Those of us who are not disqualified, at least, as we discover which one of these ladies is the real lion tamer or tiglon tamer extraordinary. So may I ask the real Evelyn Currie to please stand up. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Now, number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Tulu Chu, and I work at Alexander Shields Men's Shop on Park Avenue.
Thank you. And now let's find out number 3. Would you tell us your real name, since you're the reason for Tom disqualifying himself, and I must say I recognized you, too. Tell us who you really are and what you do, please.
My name is Georgia Southern. I'm a burlesque exotic dancer.
That's pretty heartwarming, isn't it, huh?
Sure is.
All your friends are right here. Well, let's check up on our score here. We find that there were 1, 2, and a disqualification, calling it 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of 700. It's 4? Disqualification, but there's 1 correct.
Don't take my vote away. I'm not right that
No,
often.
she voted. Polly voted. I mean, you know.
Who was that said 4 anyway?
I think it was...
I think it was our producer out there. He's cut his hair too short. There were 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $750 from Arid. Thank you very much, ladies. Good night, and God bless you. Now, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Comte Abel Armand.
What is your name, please?
My name is Comte Abel Armand.
What is your name, please?
My name is Comte Abel Armand.
You follow along with your copies of this affidavit, panel. I, Count Abel Armand, and 2 of my cousins traveled around the world on a bet. A friend offered to pay for our entire trip if we could make the circuit in 1 month and return with 30 of the 33 weird items which he listed. Among the items were a telephone directory from Tehran, a policeman's turban from New Delhi, a straitjacket from Hong Kong, and a punched bus commutation ticket from Bangkok. We also had to appear on Japanese television, be photographed lying on a bed of nails, etc., etc. We were on our way home with exactly the required 30 items when item number 11, one live Chinese frog, died. We were saved at the last minute by the arrival of item number 20, one convict suit from Alcatraz prison. We won our bet. Signed, Count Abel Armand. Our panel, these 3 gentlemen, as you heard, all claim to be Count Abel Armand, who went around the world on a bet. And let's begin this round with Don Ameche. Don?
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, what did your trip cost you?
My trip didn't cost me anything.
I'm well aware of the fact that you won your bet, but how much money was expended on the trip?
It was about $7,500
For just you alone?
for all of 3 of us.
For all 3 of you?
My 2 cousins.
Number 3, what did you spend? How much money was spent?
Well, I think about $15,000.
Number 1?
$5,000.
5,000. Number 2, what is the most popular television program in Japan?
We were not enough long time in Japan.
Number 3, where were you photographed lying on the bed of nails?
It was in Delhi, in India, New Delhi.
Number 3, are you French?
Well, I was born in France, but I lived most of my time in South America.
You speak French?
Well, of course.
Can you say La grenouille chinoise est morte? Number 2, you are French, of course. You
Yes.
can say it, yes.
Yes.
What?
That's too bad, too.
Number 1, where did you find the fakir to whom the bed of nails belonged that you had to be photographed on?
On the street.
He was standing on the street with his bed of nails?
Under.
Was he under the bed of nails?
Tom Poston.
Thank you. Count Armand, number 1. What is a Viscount?
It's an airplane.
An airplane.
No fair help.
Would you be interested in going jumping bean hunting, fellas? We had a guy here. Number 2, how did you get the frog?
We bought a frog. We bought about 5 different little frogs.
Where, I mean?
Pardon?
Where?
In India.
A Chinese frog in India? You
No,
fake? I'm glad he died.
We bought in India also some frogs. We got some frogs in India too.
Where'd you get the Chinese frog?
The Chinese frogs, they died when we bought them. We bought about 7 Chinese frogs, but we also bought about 7 in India, 7 little frogs.
Ringers.
Ringers.
Polly?
He got the Chinese frogs in Jamaica, Tom. Number 3, it says one convict suit arrived from Alcatraz. In other words, you didn't have to go to the specific places to get them. If you could just finagle a way to get them, is that the idea?
we were there, right, but we couldn't get it. It was very hard to get it.
Well, how did you get the I want to know how you got the convict suit.
The convict suit by mail, of course. It arrived to Paris.
A convict escaped and
No.
sent you-
It was absolutely clean suit.
It was a clean
That's
suit.
right. I don't think it was good
There
before.
were no convicts in this suit. Number 1, it says that what show did you appear on in Japanese television?
It was not a show. It was on a street.
Everything happened on the...
Everything happened on the street, under a bed of nails. That's it, panel. It's time to vote. Without consultation, will you kindly mark your ballots? As before, you will select number 1, number 2, or number 3. All marked? Polly? One more look. And mark the ballot. Okay, for whom did you vote?
I think it's number 3. But I voted for number 1 because I couldn't remember whether he could or couldn't speak French. Because I was looking at you instead of him at the time, and I didn't see how he shook his head. I haven't the vaguest idea who it is. I just took a wild guess, because I don't know anything about convict suit or dead Chinese frogs. Even live Chinese frogs I'm not too well associated with.
Okay, Don, your vote, please.
I voted for number 2 because I happen to know that the best Chinese frogs do come from India, you know. So.
Oh,
Kitty, what about yours,
I voted for number 1 because he has a witty face and would do this kind of a game. Number 3, of course, could very well not be French, but he doesn't speak much French, I don't think. And number 2 knew too much about Indian frogs in China. I mean Chinese frogs in India.
And
Did you
Tom,
vote?
which one do you think is the
I
real
did
one?
too.
Uh-huh.
I suppose I should have asked him what a vicomte was.
Yours is
In view
number
of the
1
fact that
also?
he said he was, yes, number 1. And, I don't know.
How can there be 4 votes for number 1 and 1 for number 2? Is there an
I don't
extra
know.
voter in this?
Something's happening.
No, I think...
For whom did you vote?
Well, I made 2 votes, actually.
Well, which one did you vote
Both
for
of
first?
them
You
for
voted
number
for number 1.
Yes.
1 for number 1.
I voted for number 2.
1 for number 2.
I voted for number 1.
And so did you, Tom, didn't
I'd
you?
like to disqualify
3
myself.
for number 1. Why, you knew one of the frogs? If
Oh,
you
now
can-
it's 2.
Put one more up on number 1, if
Would
you
you
will,
ask
please,
the
and then we'll have
producer
it
not
straight.
to fool around with those lights on the board?
One more up on number 1. Well, if you won't, I'll remember it. There are 3 for number 1 and 1 for number 2. Okay, now let's find out which one is the real gentleman involved here, who went around the world on a bet. Will the real Count Abel Armand please stand up? Thank you very much. Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Georges Gersen, and I'm the president of Volney de Paris Perfume, and I live in New York.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, would you tell us your real name and what you do?
My name is Roman Lesh. I live in New York, and I drive a cat.
Incidentally, Count Armand and his cousin have written a book on their trip, and it comes out, as a matter of fact, it was published on Tuesday, and I bet you'll never guess what its title is. Around the World on a Bet. And good luck with it. Checking the score, we find there was only one incorrect vote at $250 from Arid, which is yours, gentlemen, to divide, and, of course, a gift package of Rise Instant Lather. And I hope that you've enjoyed your visit to us. We enjoyed having you here. Good night, and bonsoir. Good luck. Now, panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mike Conantz.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mike Conantz.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mike Conantz.
You follow along with your copies of this affidavit, panel. I, Mike Conant, write poetry and am a student at Columbia University School of General Studies, where I am also feature editor of The Owl, the school newspaper. A couple of nights a week, however, I put on the shades and make the scene at espresso spots in Greenwich Village. Sometimes, at a blast, I pick up a gig for a set at some way-out pad. Squares would call me a beat poet. Signed, Mike Conant. Three gentlemen this time, all claiming to be Mike Conant, beat poet. And as they settle themselves, let's start with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Well, to begin with, I would like a translation of the affidavit, please. Number 1, do you play the bongos or anything when you...
Only when I'm alone.
Oh. In other words, you don't accompany yourself when you read your poems. You just do them...
Only with my voice.
Oh, I see. Number 2, there's a rather well-known gentleman in show business who was a student at Columbia recently. Do you know who I'm referring to?
No. Offhand,
Number 3, would you know?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Number 1?
Pat Boone.
Number 2, what is cappuccino?
Cappuccino is a kind of espresso coffee usually flavored with cinnamon.
Don?
Number 3, what's cappuccino?
It's coffee flavored with chocolate and cream.
Number 1, chocolate and cream. Number 1, how does espresso differ from other coffee?
It's steam heated.
Number 2?
It has dregs.
Number 3. How long before publication is your paper put to bed?
How long before publication?
Yes.
I would say about the night before.
Number 1.
About 2 days before.
Number 2, how many typesetters do you use in your paper?
I don't know. I don't deal with the printer directly.
Kitty?
Number 1, who is Norman Mailer? Number
He
1.
wrote advertisements for myself.
Number 2, who is Kerouac?
Jack Kerouac is a beat poet, so-called. He's also a novelist.
Thank you. Number 3, who is Greenberg?
Greenberg.
Number 1, who is Greenberg?
I have no idea.
Number 2?
You're thinking of Ginsberg.
Ginsberg. All right. Who is Ginsberg?
You'll settle for anyone, right? No. Anybody. Starting with a G.
He's a poet chiefly noted for his long poem, Howl.
Thank you.
Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, what is fuzz? Watch it, number 3.
It's police.
Oh, number 3, eh?
What?
It's the police, Kitty. I'll go with number 3 again. I was still asking number 2, but I'll go with number 3 again. What is owl in French? Do you happen to know? It's the name of your newspaper, I know, but what is it in French? Do you just happen to know?
No, I don't.
Number 2, what does juiced mean?
It's like being gassed.
It's like being gassed with dregs. All right, that's it. It's time to vote. Will you kindly mark your ballots and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3? Make your votes way out, please, panel. Real gone votes. All set, everybody? Holly? For whom
Gee,
this time?
it's close between 1 and 2 because having played a few gigs at some way out joints myself, I felt sort of a thing about number 1, but number 2 got awful wild toward the end, and
Don, who'd you vote for?
Well, I voted for number 1, and I'm not familiar with this talk, so I can't come up with any real solid reasons here for this bet.
Kitty, which one do you think is the real one?
Well, I voted for number 3. Number 2 corrected me on Greenberg, and he was right. It's Ginsberg, but I think number 3 said no, he didn't know Greenberg because I'd said the wrong poet, and I think it's number 3.
And Tom, your selection.
Well, I voted for number 3. I was tempted to play the show's game here, the producer's game, and vote for the guy that was the least likely, but I didn't. I voted for the guy I thought was the most likely. I think it's number 3.
All right, there we have it. Now, with the votes in, let's find out whether we're right or wrong. And whether you're right or wrong if you're guessing along with us at home here, and discover which one is the real beat poet. So will the real Mike Conant please stand up? Oh, Polly had a good night tonight.
I got all 3 tonight.
Yes, you did. Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, please?
My name is Henry Mack. I am the custodian of Judson Memorial Church here in New York.
You got to admit that's a real beat pad, isn't it? Number 3, your real name and what you do, please.
My name is Malachi McCourt, and I'm the custodian of Malachi's Bar on 3rd Avenue.
He's also our nod to St. Patrick's Day. Very nice to have you all here with us, gentlemen. Mike, I understand you're editor of a new a beat type, I believe it is, magazine. The name of it is O.
That's right. The name is O. It's beat or semi-beat, as you will, and will be out in May at your favorite local neighborhood tavern or drugstore or newsstand.
We'll beat our own particular beat fast to it and get copies of it. Now, let's check up on the score here. We find that there were 2 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $500 from Arid. And I was about to say your supply of Rise Instant Lather, but I won't. I'll say a gift package of all of Carter's fine products to each of you. And, well, what can I say? Except that, cats, I expect you'll all cut out now your respective pads. And like man, I was mighty happy you could make the scene. So like man, good night. Guess that's all the time we have, but we certainly have time to urge everyone, myself included, to tune into the Jack Benny Show on this network on Saturday night because our Polly is on it. That makes any show worth watching.
Thank you, Bud.
Any vital statistics on lecture tours, Kitty?
No, darling, not a thing,
None
thank you.
whatsoever this week. Don or Tom, nothing?
Not
I
a thing.
disqualify myself.
All right, in that case, good night, panel.
Good night.
Bye, Bud.
Bud Collier saying good night from Arid Cream Deodorant and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.